How does my product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social group or issues? My product uses a range of conventions from the thriller genre, especially through its setting and the way the opening is constructed. One of the main conventions I use is the isolation location. As the film takes place in a forest, this immediately creates a sense of separation and safety, which is a common in thriller films because it makes characters more vulnerable and limit their ability to escape or get help. At the beginning, I use a bird's eye view shot of the forest along with eerie music. This follows the conventions by clearly establishing the setting while also creating a slightly unsettling tone. Even though nothing dangerous is happening yet, the audience is already being prepared for something to go wrong. However, my film also challenges typical thriller conventions, and instead of starting with immediate danger or suspension, I began with a casual blog-style interaction where the characters are walking through a trail in broad daylight. This is significant because thrillers often rely on darkness or immediate tension, whereas I delay the tension. By doing this, I make the film feel more realistic and relatable, especially for teenagers audience, while also building suspense more gradually. Additionally, my product includes elements such as found footage style, particularly through the blog-like recording and natural dialogue. This creates a sense of realism, which makes the audience feel like they are watching a real event unfold rather than a scripted scene. In terms of representation, my film focuses on teenagers and how they react in unfamiliar, stressful situation. It explores how different personalities respond to conflict. For example, one character began to feel uncomfortable and wanted to leave, while the other react more aggressively. This highlights themes such as peer pressure, fear, decision-making under pressure. How will my film engage with audiences and how it would be distributed? My product engages with audience through realism. At the beginning of the film, the characters interact in a natural and casual way, including a blog-style type introduction. This makes the scene feel realistic and relatable, almost as if the audience is watching real people rather than actors. This is important because realism makes later events more impactful by showing normal behaviors at the start. The audience is able to emotionally invest in the characters early on. As tension begins to build, that connection increases the suspense because the audience is more concerned about what will happen to the characters. Another way my product engages audiences is through pacing and tension. The film begins slow opening, which helps establish a setting and a relationship between characters. This allows the audience to understand who they are and who they are watching, and it allows them to feel connected to them. As the film progresses, it becomes more intense, reflecting the shift in mood. The pacing becomes faster, which helps build tension and signals that something is wrong. This gradual shift keeps the audience interested and in a sense of unease. My product also engages audiences through the use of dialogue and thriller conventions. I use short, direct dialogue to keep the audience attention, especially for a teenage audience. The natural speech patterns make the film feel realistic and believable. For example, a line like "This would be a good spot to fish, don't you think?" Shows casual conversation, helps establish a normal conversation. I also include sudden conflicts where the killer lunges at the blogger. This creates an unexpected tension and builds suspense through the film. In terms of distribution, my product is designed for both digital platforms and showcases. Platforms like YouTube and social media are important because a film opening content is widely consumed by teenage audiences. These platforms will allow the film to reach a larger audience quickly and encourage sharing. Overall, my product engages audiences through realism, pacing, and suspense. The blog type style opening builds a strong connection with the characters. The pacing reflects the emotional progress of the story, and it uses thriller conventions to create tension and excitement.
How did your production skills develop throughout the filming?
Throughout this project, my production skills developed significantly in several areas, including filming, planning, and editing. At the beginning, my understanding of camera work was basic. I didn't really consider how different shots had different meanings for the film, and however, as the project progressed, I learned how to use different techniques more effectively. For example, using the drone camera helped me develop my skills for framing and composition. The overhead shot of the forest showed how high angle shots can establish setting and create atmosphere, especially for a horror film. I also improved my skills using the wall camera for handheld wall footage. At first, my shots were less controlled, but over time, I learned how to use shaky, realistic movement intentionally to create a found footage effect. This helped me understand how styles can support genre, especially in making scenes feel more realistic and immersive. immersive. My editing skills developed the most throughout the project. Before this, I didn't have much experience with structuring a full sequence. I learned how to cut clips more effectively and control pacing, but I built tension by gradually increasing the speed of editing. I also improved using traditional and sounds to enhance mood, especially in creating suspense during key moments like the appearance of the killer. Eating a sign. Eating a sign.
I don't know, maybe go pause it and then we can listen to it back.
I'm talking about
How did I integrate technology? Welcome to Tech Breakdown Showdown. Today our three contestants will explain how different technologies were used in their horror film opening to create tension, realism, and atmosphere. Let's begin. Contestant number 1, how did you use the drone camera in your horror film? We used the drone camera to capture an overhead bird's eye view shot of a forest. This helped us set the location and made the setting feel isolated, which is important for horror films. This high angle also shows how small and vulnerable the characters are in the environment. It creates tension because the audience can see how deep and empty the forest is, making it feel more dangerous and unknown. Contestant 2, what about the vlog camera? We used the vlog camera to create a found footage style during a hiking scene. The characters are walking through the forest, filming like it's real life. This makes the audience feel like they are watching real events instead of a scripted film. When the killer appears, the shaky handheld footage increases panic and realism, making the scene more intense and frightening. Moving on to contestant 3. Explain how editing softwares was used. We used editing softwares to bring everything together and create the horror atmosphere. We cut and arranged clips to build suspense, starting calm and then slowly increasing tension. We also used faster cuts when the killer appeals to create panic. Sound effects and music were added to make it scarier, and we adjusted pacing to control how the audience feels during the scene. Excellent explanations. Today we learned how the drone shots, vlog camera footage, and editing software all work together to create a horror film opening that builds tension and realism. Thank you for watching Tech Breakdown Showdown.